Okay, are you, am I beginning, David, or should I go at the top of the hour? But that's okay. I can begin if you'd like. And you're on mute there. Can't hear you, sorry.
Yes, Mark, please take it away.
Oh, okay, you want to, I don't have my intro in front of me. Could you do me the honors?
David Sawa, please do the honors.
And thank you for that, David.
David, you're muted.
Not again. Okay, so I have here an artist statement by Mark Fishbein, our feature. And, he spent most of his life in Manhattan, with some years in Paris and Washington, D.C., and he now lives in Chicago. You said it was the capital of poetry once. I love it. After, 1 second. And then a 50-year career found him in t-shirt printing. And oh my cat changes everything when she walks over the keyboard. 1 second. Holy Lord of Lords. Okay, I'll come back. So the 50-year career that found him was the t-shirt screen printing and tie-dye industry, perfect for a poet hippie. He was the first person to put Mickey Mouse on a t-shirt. Oh my God. That's like instant fame right at the beginning. Um, After he retired, he got an MFA from Columbia College last year in poetry so he could teach it, and he will be doing so at the Graham School of Northwest University. That's great. I didn't know you had a teaching gig already, or I forgot. So on Zoom, he's known as the share screen guy, or some call it fish binding. I love it. Having discovered the great advantages of it on this limited two-dimensional format. And he goes on to say he's one of the founders of the PGN Poetry Global Network, and he hosts the third Sunday of every month a Poets Book Club, as well as editing both anthologies and collections of PGN publishing. And as a poet, he has several collections out and poems in journals over the decades. Most recently, an ekphrastic collection called Billboards of Chicago. Okay, that's great. Now I can buy it. Reflections in the Time of Trumpius Maximus. I've always wanted to order that one, so I will. And a journal in poetry from 2021. Uh, Unfortunately, he's currently writing book two, and he plays a classical guitar tolerably. I found that hilarious. But he hasn't really found his way with it on Zoom. I love the times you play. So in April, he'll be performing at the National Association of Poetry Therapy's annual meeting. So super cool. But today, sonnets. I think it's the perfect form. So from a collection of 21 sonnets from a time and place, and 21 sonnets stirred, not shaken, he will read the latter, and it's a collage of 21 sonnets mostly written between 2022 and 2026. The poems are meant to be immediately accessible with heart, humor, pathos, and twists, as good sonnets attempt to do. It offers a mix of the modern and traditional, with variations in free verse, mixed rhymes, punctuation, and enjambments. And of the many options to present sonnets, he chose the 14-line variation of three quatrains with a couplet. That's what I do too. Aptly, he put two poems on a page. There's room. Each one takes about a minute to read, so it should fit the time like a glove. Absolutely. And he'll be reading the first section at Finn Halls next April, like a blot from the blue. So that's something very worthy of going to. And Mark, go right ahead.
Okay, from 21 Sonnets Stirred Not Shaken, or otherwise known as Sonnet 2, Sonnet to Trailblazing. Walk softly on this earth as if your legs were wings. The woodlands will notice that you have changed and honor the many years you carried the atrocities that living bears witness to. Feel the tender path with threadbare soles. Absorb its aroma of redemption. The living green bows as you pass with whispers for your moment of disappearing, like a footprint. Stride to the wind which thrills you. It is the earth breathing to a place between hope and despair. These little things still have meaning because you must believe in something. My friend, walk softly on this ground of time and space, this trail under pillared trees without end. Uncle Jack's scissors. Uncle Jack, on my wife's side, was an uncomplicated gent. We'd see him once or twice a year at family events. He was devoted to Aunt Hilda, and the two were childless. His claim to fame was how he spent the fewest cents to buy his dapper clothes. He read the cartoons daily, with the few and little needs, like a bald-headed boy of 10, for 50 years, the happy seller of stationery supplies. He retired, played golf, and died in the senior center. Somehow, I got his scissors, the ultra grand deluxe, with its sound of kissing steel on the countertop. The mail, the coupons, my nails, there's always things to cut. Plastic things or strings, there's not a day I do not stop to think of Uncle Jack and his simple and kind heart as I use his passed down tool, which tears all things apart. And this is Uncle Jack's scissors. Faith. What new thesis can be said? A rogue gene to comfort reason, a ticket to the waiting room, a gift for miraculous demons? This deep need to believe is the dark puzzle of my soul. I see my neighbors pray for seats in a kingdom of raptures, but I won't kneel in a silent room waiting for a God's voice on the loudspeakers for clues to the black of death. Whatever it means to be alive, human, eternal, redeemed, we are here at this exact moment. Somehow there is in you another me that shares something in these imperfect lines, a transcendental thing between the living and deceased. I am yet alive, in a present hungry for permanence, something to bind the fragrance of thoughts with music, where faith is a benumbed belief, soothed in a chorus of blissful bards, singing in the night to Adam's curses. Sonnet to the guitar. Once you have slept with the guitar, concentrating so to give her pleasure, you offer arpeggio to her round heart, which resonates to sensual treasure. Her shape an orchid butterfly with breath from the throat of trees, she's a harlot who owns my time, as my fingers grope her symmetry. How many years I have paid the debt and acted a chivalrous troubadour, never at ease, tight walking on the frets, one mistake and she'll laugh with scorn. Bitch, what little I ask in return. One sound, you the body, I the words. Sonnet to fish. At the market, we decide which to grill or fry, octopus, trout, and hammerhead sharks, stacked head to head, eye to eye, by the hundreds in rainbow corpses, crated in ice and packed like corn. Each wears the same expression, stunned as when they were torn from water to the last transgression. What did they think about all day and night in a rush to nowhere in open seas? 1,000 shapes in a panic of flight, sooner or later to be snared or eaten alive. So what was the rush, the thrill, the cheer, to end up here with chips and beer? To an anniversary. This was my wife and I's 50th anniversary, believe it or not. Huddled on ice, the penguins choose a mate and do a steady tango, a stately tango. As to ballrooms we clutter, dance with smiling eyes, take a date, and proclaim to the rookery to have found the other. Curious that penguins mate for life, faithful to their cozy nest in the crowd, a humble bond between husband and wife with acceptance to the life they found. As these courtly birds age, they snap and bicker, caring to their thinning coats, waddling away, careful not to trip, saying, "Here's the spouse I picked. Now see our offspring feasting in the bay." As 50 years passed, we kissed in the park to share Arctic suns and winter's dark. Grandpa, what's a blister? I can only state the mechanics of these things, how the white teardrop protects the rawness beneath, but I can't tell you how nature figured out to do this. And though I was told to never pop it, I always did with a safety pin. No, I can't tell you how space-time came to be, why we breathe, or why there are oceans or trees. On this planet spinning in the infinite, our essence lives in dimensions of complexities out of range for understandings, of being in this time and in these shoes, feeling if I could know just one thing, I'd know everything. Well, a blister happens when you rub the skin. Let me see the boo-boo. I'll give it a kiss. Reflections. Born before the age of mirrors, we saw faces reflected in tears or shallow pools, an unfamiliar mask we could not understand, a shadowy self who knew our name. Then came bronze, silver, and glass. Mirrors now surround us from birth. I see my face 100 times a day, from the moment I wake or join the crowds, as it is something from the past, praising or criticizing my every countenance. It displays crevices on my forehead as my hair whitens like a mountaintop. It has seen my eyes sadden through the years, says nothing as their wisdom disappears. So 4 seasons here. Spring. Was it not the day just past, the bare trees bent in dreamlessness? The sky was large, the horizon, ground was ochre and grasses brown. How swiftly the azalea bushes ignite with pastels and creamy whites, forsythia yellow with fascinations, cardinals appear like red carnations, and I am dizzy as a dancing bee with so many pollens to taste. Where do memories of winter retreat? Every year I am overwhelmed with grace when I cannot recall the gray-haired days where my heart was frozen in wastelands. Summer. Sweltering in the haze of a humid afternoon, we watched the flower of the daytime moon, a dandelion sphere afloat like a soaring bird, in absolute stillness, not a buzz or a leaf heard. Suddenly the treetops began to spin as breezes brushed our sweated skin to the sound of bell bronze thunder from a distant kettle drum. Oh, the effervescent rush of air, birds and insects scattered everywhere as the forest stretched its boughs and limbs with its canopy leaping to the wind, while the sun hid behind clouds of rain in a bloom of scented moonglow. Fall. Above the honking cars, we hear them sing to the skyline of the windy city, elongated squadrons with crescent wings across archways in shifting V's. The geese fly to tropical honeymoons, to a south of waterfalls and floral lace, where winter brings warm monsoons unlike Chicago's gusts of icy rain. We stare breathless at their freedom from the apathetic delays of traffic, landlocked and condemned to a momentary thrill of the ecstatic when everything around us disappears to follow them in chill, thin air. And winter. What can you do when stuck in mud? Hail keeps falling on the fields as heavy soil clings to your heart, and your linens are stained and brown. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink through trenches of buried dreams, tripping over tree roots and boulders in mounds of rotting leaves. Ahead are fields of frozen muck not a donkey cart can get through. So you must stay put in your barn, spread a blanket of hay on the ground, while your very wings envelop your sleep, waiting for something called spring. Sonnet 2, the universe of one. One multiplied by itself is always one. But if I multiply myself, there are many me's, like the sun, which is just a star named Sun among the speckled clouds of galaxies. In the dimension of birth and death, nature has a soul. This we know from every moment, heartbeat and breath, that the mass of gods have reaped and sown. Death alone has no plural for anyone. The builders of life heave their burden when imagination has had its run, to be buried with a knowable sum. I am one composed of many, many ones, but shall be only one when I am gone. Theorems of soul. Life equals soul times the rate of love squared. Kindness minus cruelty equals soul. Good over evil equals the square root of soul. Sorrows divided by soul equal rebirth. But what is the equation for soul? A magnetic force that draws us together for a rare clairvoyance of feeling? Layers of skin that are peeled off until it's gone and there is emptiness? Do I have a soul? Is that to whom I speak? Where do souls go? Do trees have souls? Can I rent one? Can I buy one? Do mountains have souls? Is there a universal soul? How do I divide sorrows by soul? The fatal flaw for us poets. You bite into the fruit from the tree of despair to be a drowning boat whose tiller palpitates in an ocean of sorrows, desperate to share the full dead weight of its resting on your shoulders. This mood becomes familiar as you spit out pomegranate-like seeds. It has the complexity of rose hip and bitter herbs whose taste you like, but tell no one. It suits you. Milk it for all it's got. Get high on it. To live, you must feel something. Seek the pulp that brews in you to the shelters of poverty and grit, where fate tells of tragic repulsions. It is by the whip that creativity flows, arouses to grieve with hope to a humanity. To Baudelaire, from the poem To the Reader or Lecteur. The gravity of humankind, the binding of all, regardless of beliefs, we are tourists to any truth, believing what neatly fits in our coffee cup of wisdom. Let mathematicians make charts of intent and deeds, calculate mistaken lies or those of innocent hurt. You know this ancient beast, a two-faced Janus to whom the politicians swarm, priests perform their secret sex, where slavery thrives. It is the god of instinct, of war and massacres, from Eden, from where we ate from the tree of lies. We accept it to shadow our thoughts, shield us from the reality of ennui and evil ways. It's hypocrisy. We are actors in a hall of mirrors. He is you and I. We must forgive to survive. Starting from scratch. When was the world not total chaos? When did everybody start complaining? The meat is overcooked or it's raining. The emperor is married to a hag. So sad. It's time for boys to test skills in battle. It's time for girls to breastfeed the troops. The old ones die of sadness or disease, while the bells of madness rattle. Hours pass in phases of the moon to days in slow-moving seasons. There is never a moment's peace or reason from the commotion that living consumes. We are born to agitate time and place. Passion drives our chosen fates. Highs and lows. Highs. I rehearse my highs, coax them with sweets. I would climb a mountain for a moment's foreseen when I can say with self-bloating certainty that I orchestrated a perfect memory. I will do this and that, I will prepare, I will return, I will reread, I will explore. When I see with mine own eyes, I will absorb, I will taste, I will know what is forevermore. So I act to make me champion of fate, to interrupt the silences that await me. How they drive my cry of presence on that great gush of the future tense, to the future tense. But highs depend on things that simply happen. The moonrise, her eyes, the clouds, the sighs. Turning 70. Strange. I don't feel any different today. I never do any day, not really. But it's not the same turning 70 because tomorrow I'll be 80. Just a number. Ha! What could be dumber? Every name on the obituary page is neatly followed by a number, usually in that 70s to 80s range. The teeth are loose, and so's the wit. Now I can officially scold the scene. This world won't change a bit. Screw the happy birthday routine. Consolations would ring more true. For all the complaining I intend to do. Sonnet to Fame. What does fame mean to we who have no fame? It is only by name are some recalled, perhaps their dates known by what they built or thought or how ruthless they were with their armies. They themselves, their essence, is only imagined in the abstract of daily life and mirrored stars. They did not live their lives through fame, but as you and I, in tastes, loves, and bitterness. The physical passing is not recorded by fame. Take heart if your name will not be inscribed on an obelisk that reaches the stratosphere, or your deeds are not sung by priests or warriors. Eventually, all will be erased to start over. Every god there ever was knows this, rest assured. And my last poem is called Longevity. It was at my 76th, and I'm not going to write another birthday poem, I hope, for at least another couple of years. How shall I feast these several thousand days before I'm in my 90s? After that, who can say? Will cheese smell like a breath of the cow? Will my brain wrinkle like a map on my brow? The countdown has begun, no time to slouch, though tempting to lay around and grouch. Only 7,000 days left, no time to snack. The clock now quickens around the track. A year in France, a month in Greece, a week in Montevideo. Listen to Mahler, read Blake, climb Mount Kilimanjaro. Swim with dolphins, have lots of orgasms. Get stoned every night, watch the northern lights. Telling myself, I must have fun, really must have fun, before the time to play the fool is gone. Voila. Thank you.